of chatter online about alliances, but this week they put them all to rest. Anna Leigh, welcome back to the show. How have you been?
So good.
So, in the last 3 weeks, how many countries have you been to?
How many have I not been to? I literally just got back from Maui this morning at like 6 a.m. So I'm running on adrenaline. My body doesn't know where in the world it is right now, but we are here. We made it.
Well, it's good to have you because last week I was by myself, so you only get that one perspective, and you know how sometimes I could be really polarizing. And I was glad that you showed up this week because this is a week that Amber and Vinnie have been getting a lot of online, or at least Vinnie has been getting a lot of online. And I think you and I have a unique perspective about how the way we talk to our race partners.
That's the truth.
And I did. James Wallington is in chat. James, I did see you post something about the edit. I do want to see. I do have a little comment about that before we get into this. Let me make sure I get it right. Let me make sure I get it right because I love James Wallington, and me and James have gotten into some stuff on Twitter, and I don't want to cause any bad blood at all. But here's James Wallington's tweet. Let's stop blaming the edit for how we come off on reality TV. Look, I get it. Context is important and sometimes lost with editing. But you still say what you say and react or behave as you do. Just own it and say you've grown from it. As somebody who was Frankenbites at least 6 times on my season, no, what I say is not what I say. What I say in the first leg sometimes come up in the 7th leg and in the 6th leg, and it's also taken out of context. And with the alliance stuff and all of the stuff that we didn't see because of the edit, I'm sure that you might disagree with that tweet that you posted as well. Annalie, would you say that your edit was fair based on the stuff that they showed, or did they cut out all of the good stuff and just leave all of the negative stuff?
I so wish Dad was here on this episode because he's definitely got a lot to say about it. I mean, there were so many times that we were so excited to watch the episode back because we were like, they've got to show this hilarious moment when we're like belly laughing, crying. And they just never did. They just like every moment where it was kind of like a little attitude or a little frustration, that's all we got. So, yes, James is right in the sense where you say what you say and you definitely react the way you react. And nobody can understand that unless you're actually racing and like have done it before. But gosh, Dad and I were shaking the TVs, just sad that we didn't get to showcase our true relationship like outside of the show.
Yeah, like I heard from every single cast member that Steve was the funniest member of the cast. And I don't think we got one Steve joke the whole season.
I mean, we're running around calling each other Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. He's got his little tight suit on. He's flopping his little feet around. I mean, there were so many moments that we laughed and had such a good time, but not a single one of them was shared.
All right, and I listen. James Wallington says Frankenbiting is one thing, but you can't fully blame the edit. That's true. You can't fully blame the edit. And to be fair, you can't compare you and Diana or Annalie and Steve to Vinnie and Amber. I don't know. I think Vinnie. I don't think he's raised his voice once, whereas me and you have definitely screamed at our partners. Vinnie just seems to be. I think Vinny's problem is he reminds people a lot of their exes. I think everybody takes it out on Vinny because Vinny has not been wrong once. Maybe his tone has been way calmer than I could maintain, and some people see that as condescending or talking down. But when you have a partner who I compare to Brooke, because she basically says she can't do anything. She has low self-esteem. She doesn't believe in herself. And every time she says, I can't do it, he says, just try, and they get it right. There's 3 separate times she wanted to quit or change things, and he was like, let's just give it a try, and they actually passed it. And if he went with her and said, okay, let's just switch detours, or let's give up on this, they would have been eliminated. Just like you and Dad, if you didn't push Dad as hard as you did, you guys would have been eliminated earlier. Do you agree on that?
I definitely agree with that. Yeah. And Dad even said it. He told me so many times, like, if you weren't there yelling at me to come on, then he said that little voice, just knowing that I was like hoping he would get there. He said encouraged him. But I also think there's a level between like disrespect and just like freaking racing. Like maybe that's Vinny and Amber's relationship. I don't know what they are outside of it. I watched one of their podcasts, like YouTube videos. They seemed to be getting along a lot better. And again, like I know that Dad and I have never been in a situation where we've been that stressed. Like when I'm stressed, I go to him, and we're never in that situation outside of the race. And so that was like a one-off weird experience that we would never do again. So hard to say.
Yeah, I get it. But I've been online and I've seen so much hate for Vinny, and I feel bad for him because I think that he's somebody who's trying to use techniques that he's read about to like calm his emotions down and speak to her in a different tone or a different way. And he's getting so much stuff. Like they're saying, like I've read stuff, the same thing that they said to Diana, like, you better leave him. Like somebody literally like private message Diana said, you better leave now because he's 100% going to beat you at some point. As if I would ever physically raise my hands to my wife, who I've been with for 17 years, mind you, happily married with 2 kids. And Amber and Vinnie, this is 2 years later, and they are in Mexico right now looking at their wedding venue, happy as they'll ever be right now. So obviously there's something that's happening in their relationship that is going very, very well as compared to what people see on The Amazing Race and saying that, oh, you girl, you better get away from him. He's gaslighting you. The biggest thing I hear about gaslighting, though, isn't when you gaslight someone, like you're making them believe something that's not true. And I think that he's been 100% right about everything. And on this last episode, he was like, okay, you think it's over there? Let's just go. Let's just follow you and we'll go see if you're right and you were wrong. So let's just follow me. You're the navigator, but you admit that you can't navigate. So why do you get mad if I take the map over and navigate?
Yeah, I don't think Vinny's in the wrong at all. I haven't seen any of the hate that he's gotten, but mainly that's because I'm not on those fan pages. I can't get on them. But I mean, he is right. And I think he's handling her pretty calmly. If you ask me, if my husband responded to me the way that he did, I would be like, okay, he's like trying to calm me down. He is right. I'm being too much, you know?
Okay. Well, I know that you're a very strong female, so I didn't know how you would react to somebody like Vinny. But also, like, people think that Amber is weak. And I, want to put this out there, that she has one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, where literally every single time she does her job, she can kill someone. It is the most dangerous job in the doctor profession, is putting someone under anesthesia. You have to get a separate consent form for it. And the drugs that they use are so highly regulated, because if you're off by a certain percentage, you will kill the patient. It is one of the most stressful and hardest jobs to do, and she does it along with her husband. And I think
that's a different level of stress. It's totally a completely different animal. Like working in the hospital, being in a controlled environment like that, and having that type of stressor versus being out in the world, like racing around, just constantly frantic. I think it's just totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. Vinny and Amber are in chat, by the way. I did not think they were going to be in chat because they're living the good life in Mexico right now, enjoying the most beautiful place where they're going to get married. They're going through the experience that their guests are going through.
Congratulations.
Yeah, make sure you speak to Anna Leigh. I'm sure she's been everywhere that you guys are going at this point.
Got you guys. I can help y'all plan.
And FYI, if anybody has any beef, just know that I love James Wallington. Don't ever think that me and James Wallington do not like each other. We may disagree, but that's just what family does. Okay, we disagree from time to time. All right, and I'm big fans of Vinny and Amber, and I can understand exactly what Vinny is up to. And next week Vinny and Amber will be on the show. The following week, Juan and Shane, and for the finale, we will have Ricky and Caesar. So make sure for the next 3 weeks you show up because it's going to be fire. All right. Let's get into this episode. Of course we're passionate about our show, baby. This is our dream, James. This is our dream. If you're not passionate about the show, then it shows. You know who wasn't passionate about the show? Let's see. What's their names? Chris and Mary. Everybody loved the way Mary talked to her dad, Chris. That's great. But, you know, they finished in 12th place, and they will be forgotten forever. So if you love the way they talk to each other, that's great. But guess what happens when you just talk to each other? Great. You finish in 12th place.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
You need to push your partner and push them as hard as you can push them. And sometimes you push them a little too far. And that's when you talk during the end of the leg and you work it out, which it seems like Amber and Vinnie do every single leg. They make sure they talk afterwards, and they seem like they start off fresh every time, but they still get into it, which happens in fresh relationships. And social media is nasty.
You know how long they've been dating before they filmed together?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I want to say 4 years. I don't know where I got that number from, but I want to say 4 years. But they are in chat. How long have y'all been dating, Vinny and Amber, before you guys went on the show? All right. So teams, let's start this off. There's something very interesting about the starting things. All right, Juan and Shane, Ricky and Caesar start first. The second group is not three teams anymore. The second group was only 2 teams, which means one team from the Alliance got left out of that starting pack. And it was the team that got them there. So Rod and Leticia and Amber and Vinny both benefited from the Alliance greatly. That was literally all strategy from Danny and Angie. But Danny and Angie left with the last pack, even though they finished with the Alliance pretty much exactly at the same times. So maybe that Alliance wasn't so beneficial as they think it was.
Or maybe it'll get better. I like how Danny and Angie went in with the idea of going out on their own.
Yeah.
Inevitably, like when you're competing in something like that, I think an alliance it's gonna happen. If you're trying to win and you see like an advantage with working with somebody, I don't see anything wrong with working with other teams. But
I wouldn't understand it. The only team I ever tried to work with was trying to stab me in the back the whole time, and we never worked together at all. I just asked if they can give me information because nobody would talk to us. But yeah, I don't know. So Amber and Vinny were together for 4 years, and 2.5 of that was while they were in anesthesiologist training. Or anesthesiast, I don't know how to say the word, training. And I have a lot of respect for anybody that chooses to go into a field where that any day that they do their job wrong, they can take someone's life. That stress is something I will never know about, and I don't want to know about. So the starting times, Juan and Shane, Ricky and Caesar lead first. Rod and Leticia, Amber and Vinny go second, and then the final 3 leave together. So it starts with the Expedia commercial where they're booking hotel rooms. I don't mind the product placement because product placement, I know people get pissed off about it, but product placement means that we have sponsors, and sponsors means that we have an amazing race because without them, the show's getting canceled. So don't bitch and complain about the sponsorships because, I mean, we missed the Travelocity roaming gnome. I love those episodes when they had to carry the gnome with them because I always thought it was funny. All right.
Well, they got to pick any hotel that they wanted.
Pick any hotel that you wanted. That's pretty cool.
Get a 5-star hotel. Yeah. I can do the same thing.
Absolutely. And you probably know the best hotels when they were. You're like, oh yeah, I definitely got to stay at this resort. I get my points up. I got to get my points up.
What if they gave them the points, or if they?
Well,
they don't use.
The official rule is you're not supposed to get the points, but every racer knows that you better give them your number and rack up those frequent flyer points. And if you don't do it during the race, you can call afterwards, especially if you have your stubs. You can call afterwards and get those points added because that's what me and Diana did.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, I did not know that.
Yes,
That's all.
you can get them added afterwards. So we'll see how it goes. Yes, Reddit is absolutely the worst place when it comes to trolls.
Oh my God. I haven't been on it, Vinny and Amber. I know y'all are watching, but when
Don't
I when it was my season and I got on one day, I literally cried myself to sleep. So
yo Reddit loved me and Diana before the episodes. Before the season aired, they were all about us. As soon as the first episode aired, it was like, I can't stand this crybaby with his dumbass hat. I hope he goes home.
it's horrible.
Let's change pace. Let's talk about something before we even get into the episode. Let's talk about something great that happened. And we learned about this by Sunny and Busy. Did an interview. So Busy got the routine physical for the Amazing Race, or the in-depth physical for the Amazing Race. And when she did that, she found out she had 2 lumps in her breast. Then she went on the Amazing Race, and when she returned, she found out those lumps were cancer. She had a double mastectomy, and she is now cancer-free, and says the Amazing Race saved her life because she wouldn't have gotten another test for at least 5 years or something like that.
That's crazy. I literally just got chills on my arms. Like, that's amazing.
That is
wow.
Incredible. The Amazing Race saved her life. So no matter how much they sucked at navigating, they will always still love the Amazing Race because it literally saved their life, saved her life.
Wow. And there's so many things that you don't think about getting tested for until you go on the race. So I can see how you could find something like that because you have to go through the whole gamut. I cannot believe that.
Yeah, and like they absolutely crush every roadblock, every detour, but anytime they get in a car, they get lost. There's literally, I don't think they've ever driven and not gotten lost at some point. And
me up.
And the thing that pisses me off though is that that's one thing that you can 100% practice and you can get better at. Just literally go on Google Maps and then go on a regular map, get your starting point and your destination, drop the Google Maps, and then map it out and drive it.
But the problem is like Dad and I remember growing up, he would also have always have his big map book, and he would flip through all the pages and find the street and like do it. So our plan was for him to be the navigator, or like him drive and navigate. But when you're in other countries and you can't read the street signs, or if someone's like GPS told you a different name in a different language or something, you breeze right past it. Like, we were horrible at navigation, and he's the best navigator I know.
Wow. Well, navigating is one thing that Danny excels at. And it helped him out incredibly on this episode of the race. All right, so the team, we start out, we find out Juan got food poisoning in Argentina during the mega leg, and he's feeling very weak today, and you could tell he's not his happy-go-lucky self. He's not his confident self. You could see he has a lack of confidence, and that's usually what drives him. And the results of this episode definitely show that.
Yeah.
So we'll
kind of a big drop from where they were to 6th, but he got the Argentina belly.
Yeah, Argentina belly. Van says, can a woman win the Amazing Race this time? I'm so excited to know. Hey, listen, women have won just as much as men because the majority of teams that have won have been male-female teams. Sorry for hitting it. Male-female teams. So it's been 50-50. The best teams are always half male, half female teams. But we'll see how it plays out. Vinny starts the episode off talking about running their own race. Danny starts the episode off about running his own race. They're like done with the alliance stuff. I love to hear that because I wasn't, and as much as I love James Wallington, he knows I'm not the biggest fan of how his season played out because of the alliances. It's not fun to watch as a fan. Obviously, you got to do what you got to do during the race to win it, and it's one thing that he's done that I haven't done. So obviously, I have a little jealousy whether I admit it or not. I ultimately want to win the race, right? So he did it. Cindy's Wigglesworth dropped a 20 banger saying that she's praying for Busy. You don't need to pray. She's cancer free. She's good right now. She's good. She got double mastectomy, which, for anybody listening, it pretty much takes all the meat out of your boobs. But that's something that with with technology, you could put that right back with a little silicone or saline, and you can be better than ever. So it's something that you could definitely fix aesthetically if that's something that she chooses. And she also wasn't the most buxom of women in the first place, so it's not something that that she identified with, where some women who are like Diana was very big boobed, like that would be like something that would change maybe the way she sees herself in the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't seem like she would care about that.
Yeah, she seems so chill. I can't believe that she's a firefighter, because she seems like such a stoner. Like everything about her just seems like, I'm a stoner, like, bro. Like, she wears Macho Man Randy Savage glasses. Like, she's having such a great time. I have a lot of respect for them. They seem to, no matter what the race gave them, always be in a good mood, which I couldn't say.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Leticia clearly has a favorite child. She, we don't even know who the other children are. We saw like 10 pictures of her favorite daughter and don't even know about the other kids. So
the other ones are grown up. I don't know. I didn't dig, but yes, she definitely is a favorite.
She definitely has a favorite child. Sunny said she wants to win a vacation for the family, and Busy, she says she wants to win a vacation away from her family.
I'm with you, Busy. Yep, I would have. I'd be down for winning a vacation.
Yvonne and Melissa say that the Amazing Race is like baby boot camp. It's going to get them ready for when they choose to have a baby together. I don't know if Amazing Race has anything to do with babies or boot camps, or that analogy does not hold water.
No, I didn't see the analogy, but I see what they were trying to strengthen the relationship with that. And
they seem to have a great relationship. They seem to really trust each other. They talk to each other in a great way. Let's get to it. So we start off with the tough as nails task, with where you have to weld two pieces together. It's a roadblock, and I can't believe how many people have actually welded before, or who have dads or granddads that are professional welders. Is it really that popular of a occupation?
It's definitely not something that I prepared for before going on the race. I didn't even think about that.
Never. I would never think about that. But meanwhile, there's like 4 or 5 separate people who have welded before, and 2 of them, dads is a professional welder. So,
hey, but go Vinny. He kicked butt.
Yeah, he was trying to impress his father-in-law. He's like, yeah, father-in-law's probably not going to like the way I'm talking to his daughter on TV, but I can weld my ass off. How's that? And he nailed it on his first try. Cesar, it's so hard for me to do the Spanish accent when you talk American, when you talk with the American accent.
The cast members say it. They just say Cesar. Like that's how I would say it. I can't add the Spanish little.
I mean, you already have the Southern accent, and you try to put it like a Spanish on top of the Southern.
It's Cesar for me. Okay.
Well, we love you, Ricky and Caesar, or Cesar, or how you like to pronounce it. Cesar. All right. He welded in high school, and his grandpa had a workshop, but it still took him 3 tries to get it done. Juan was chatting with Ricky while Cesar was welding. He goes, does he have any welding experience? He goes, yes. What the hell haven't you guys done? And that's what that is? That's preparation. It seems like every time that they are into something, they've done it in one form or another, because whether it's their life or the training for the race, they are prepared for the race. And being prepared for the race shows, because they're kicking ass, because they're prepared for the race, and they are a great team. Yeah, sure, they're benefiting because of the Spanish countries, but 6 teams speak Spanish. Sure, I get that. Sure, they're benefiting a little bit because it's a COVID season with the 15-minute start times and stuff like that. So at worst, you have to make up a half hour. And for them, at worst, it's 15 minutes.
Yeah. I will say, though, specifically the dancing task that they nailed the dance on. just thinking, like putting myself in that position and being the girls trying to do it, like trying to learn a song or learn anything, like a phrase, anything in another language is so hard. And then having to do it on stage and memorize it, like I definitely think there's an advantage when you are Spanish speaking at that point.
Yeah.
But it did also look like in the edit that they kind of helped them out a little bit. So I kind of think it was a little bit of both.
Yeah, but Juan and Shane, they have somebody who speaks Spanish. Ricky and Cesar has somebody who speaks Spanish. Leticia has Spanish. I don't know if she speaks it, but she's Spanish. That's where the name Leticia comes from. Vinny speaks Spanish. Danny speaks Spanish. Yvonne speaks Spanish. Sonny and Busy didn't. So the 6 teams that are left all have somebody who speaks Spanish. So I don't want to hear that, Ricky and Cesar are only winning because they speak Spanish. Literally every team that's left has somebody that speaks Spanish. So it's not that big of an advantage.
They're good at communicating. There's a lot of things that make them a good team other than just speaking Spanish.
We talked a little bit about alliances. How would oh my god, and Banu have done in this leg if they were a team? I don't know. Logan, my man, Logan, super kawaki in chat. What's up, brother? All right.
They need us to talk about how they practice navigating. I know you touched on that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Is that exactly how you practice? Do you?
When we practice navigating, and also, I'm sorry, Amber, but there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to drive stick shift, and that is the biggest problem. Because if Vinny was navigating and Amber was driving, they would have zero problems. But Amber didn't learn to drive stick shift, and that's her fault. There's no excuse for that.
Yeah, I feel like that was the first thing that I was like, oh, I already know how to drive stick because that was my first car. So that's like one of the biggest things I feel like you have to know going on the Amazing Race.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the there's 2 things that you can guarantee that's going to happen on your season. You're going to be driving a stick shift and you're going to be in a harness. 100% every season except ours, because that was the season we lost the Ford sponsorship. Thanks, season 26. And we got screwed by 4 cabs, so I would have loved to have self-driving. Vans Walker says, is this season of the Amazing Race only in South America? It's in Central America and South America because this was a COVID season that was filmed right after the other COVID season. So that's why you don't see any airport drama. But yes, it will only be in Central and South America. Maya, Rohan, Chris, and Mary both spoke Spanish as well. So there was at least 8 teams that spoke Spanish out of the 12. So it wasn't that big of an advantage.
This was not my season because I would have gone home on leg 1.
All right. So when they're doing this roadblock, the second group is catches up to the first group, the 15 minutes, and then passes them. So they made up 15 minutes and then passed them. As you could see that Amber and Vinny and Danny and Angie get past here at this roadblock, even though they left first. So there is some parity going on. And if you want to see the route clue by clue on where everybody started and finished, it is in the Discord. There is a link in the doobly-doo down below. If you want to click that, join the Discord, and you can see all the distances for where we post all the distances. Thanks to an amazing fan. You can check him out at Chicken Possible on Twitter. Team Walla Walla in the house. What's up? We're about to get into your incredible navigating skills, because the third group make it here. Can the third group make it here while the first is still here? Is what I tweeted, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But we'll see as we continue on. Danny's navigating allowed him to pass 2 teams after this roadblock. Even though he finished behind them, he navigated his ass off and passed 2 teams because he's a super fan of the race, and he did his practicing, he did his research, and he studied, and that pays off. And if you don't do it, then you didn't prepare for the race. Now, I don't want to hear, oh, he's a better navigator. You know why? Because he practiced.
True. Also, I will say, Danny, I just watched your is The Price is Right or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. He's made for TV.
Oh, Danny is awesome.
Uh,
I mean, how could you not like Danny? The only way you could say you don't like Danny is because he orchestrated the alliance. But literally, the next episode, he's like, "Nah, I'm done with that." So I can respect that. If you want to make the alliance to help you and Mom get through the mega leg, as much as it wasn't my favorite thing to watch, I can understand it. Like, Mom's the oldest member left on the race, and you got to do what you got to do to make up for some of her shortcomings. I get it,
mhm.
and I hope from this point on that the alliance runs their own race, which it seems like they will be doing.
I'm ready for Team Walla Walla to win something because
Yeah.
as much as I like am rooting for Ricky and Cesar, I it's not fun to watch for me. Like knowing that the same teams, there's only been 3 teams that have won, and it's just not it's not fun to watch.
Oh, see, I don't know. See, that's for me. I guess it might be biased because of the way that our season played out, but I also like to see greatness. Like, there's very few times you could ever watch teams that are great. And
Yeah.
how do you define your greatness? It's by continuously winning and finishing very well. And as much as I hated Michael Jordan as a Knicks fan, I got to watch him play. I got to watch the greatest player to ever play basketball play. I watched him live. I followed his career. As much as I hated him, I got to see that. And then, like, being able to see greatness gives you a certain respect for how hard the Amazing Race can be. No matter
Yeah.
how easy some teams make it look, it is still incredibly hard. Um, Team Walla Walla, if you did leave in the second group with the Alliance, then you would have won this leg. You would have had an extra 15 minutes and you could have won this leg. But because you got the Alliance and you let the other teams pass you, you finished with the third group and you only came in second place. You were so close, man.
I was rooting for them.
Yeah, hopefully they can pull off at least one victory. And if it's in the last leg, that's even better for them. All right. I hope to death that Sunny and Busy are not the people in charge of driving the fire trucks to the houses. Otherwise, the houses will be burned down before they get there.
Out the fires, I'm sure.
Hopefully, they have a navigator.
Oh, they have GPS. That was the one thing I said when I get home. The only thing I want to do is blare my music, turn my GPS on that little volume thing on loud, and I want to hear her tell me to turn right in 5 feet. Like that's all I wanted.
uh,
GPS.
Amber and Vinnie say, Amber and I definitely put in our hours in navigation. We even went to an REI course, went to Ireland to practice navigating on the other side of the road with stick shift. Oh my God. What the hell's wrong with Amber? She makes it seem like she has no clue what she's doing back there. Come on, Amber. I
She
am
set it up so that they just didn't trust it because of safety. So she knew how to drive. They just trusted him to drive more.
Man, it just seems like, she was given and I know, listen, having a lack of confidence is something that is very, very hard to get over. And being the other member of a group of a person, like when the race started, Diana had that lack of confidence. When we started winning, she just got back to being Diana. And then that's when you could see her fire starting to kick in and her starting to yell at me and make more decisions. Like you could see the evolution of Diana gaining her confidence back because normally she's an extremely confident person, but she kind of deferred to me in the beginning of the race and then slowly gained confidence. Is like, yeah, we're actually really good at this. And then her confidence gained. And I'm hoping that at some point Amber starts to realize like, hey, we're one of the better teams and we have a chance to win here, and pushes herself to get that confidence again. So I'm rooting for that.
But Dad, he kind of stayed in the back at the beginning and just let me be like my head strong. And then finally, he got to a point he was like, "No, get in the back. I'm driving. You can get back there."
There you
But
go.
as you keep going, like you figure out when you just need to take a back seat and when you need to take over.
Yeah. One of the best things that you can see on this episode, and it was such a small part, was when you can see Cesar in the back seat, kind of just like leaning. He's like, "Are you starting to trust me now with the navigating and the way that they talk to each other, the way that they communicate, the way that they trust each other?" I mean, that is such an important recipe to be a winning team. Like,
Yeah. But I also will say, shoot, if I won 5 legs in a row and was leading in the top pack, that I would be pretty chilled too. But you don't really feel that pressure unless you're in the very bottom of the pack and you're like fighting for your life.
Yeah, it's tough.
Love you, Cesar. Like I think they're doing great. It's just it's like, yeah, I would be pretty calm too, and I'd be like soaking it in a little bit more if I kind of had a little cushion.
All right. One of the things that made me giggle, but also made me a little upset, was when Amber and Vinnie are driving, right? And Amber's like, look left, right? And then you look down that street, and then he goes past the street, and she was like, you were supposed to make a right. What? You just told me to look left. There was nothing that you said that would have implicated that we needed to turn right here. and I, Vinny is a lot more calm than I would have been if Diana was navigating in the back.
I feel like Vinny handles her well. Like I'm the Amber in the situation. I'd be like, oh my god, like kind of spazzing out, and Dad is the Vinny, and they were both just like, no, that you actually said that completely wrong. This is not how it was, and I think he did well with kind of putting her in place. Like, we all need that sometimes.
Listen, everybody's relationship is different, and what motivates a certain people, only like if you know someone, everybody's not motivated by the same things, and if you know how someone thinks and how to motivate someone, then that could work to your advantage, regardless of what America thinks. Like the way that I spoke to Diana talks to me 10 times harsher. They just don't show it as much. She's a Philly girl. Like, Philly girls are tough. They watch sports. They play in, like, she grew up as a tomboy. She's not weak. And I don't think Amber is weak at all. I just think she lacks self-confidence. And if she gains that, they could be an incredible team. So, I'm looking forward to that. With the next challenge, singing or banging the drum? What would you do? Singing or banging drums?
Oof. I would have done the drums. But going into it, just if it was just a clue that said singing or banging drums, I might have chosen singing, but I think I would have changed it if I knew I had to memorize it in Spanish.
Well, you got to assume it's in Spanish, even if it's on the board in front of you, which it was, and it was just 2 paragraphs, like probably 4 to 6 lines each paragraph, so it wasn't 100%.
And like being on stage, knowing that you have to put on a performance, drums, 100%, yeah. And
it seemed like every team got it on their first try, the drums, except Amber and Vinnie, where they were about to quit and give up because Amber said she couldn't get it. And Vinnie was like, let's just try it. They tried it and got it on their next try, which is something that happened 3 times this season, where Amber was pretty much ready to give up or switch. And Vinnie was like, let's just try it. You could do it. Believe in yourself type of like motivation. And she did. She did it. She reminds me so much of Brooke, who kept saying, I can't do this, and then immediately does it. Like, you can do it. Amber and Vinnie are TV gold. 100% drums. Yeah, drums. See, the thing about drums seemed, from reading it, seems harder because you have to get the beat. If you're off beat, you can hear it. If you miss a word or two when you're singing, it's harder to hear because everybody's singing with you. And like you could just be not as loud, but when you're drumming and you're like, you can always hear that extra drum beat, and you're like, you know who it is. So we would have shoot,
and I think knowing your lane too. I would have stayed in my own lane. Like I sound like Fergie in the shower, but outside of that, no, I can't sing.
I wish I could sing. That's one thing I wish I could buy. I have a terrible singing voice, but I love to sing.
Me too. That's why I sound like Fergie in the shower. You got the echoes going on, but any other time it's a fat no.
All right. Well, when we're talking about performance, let's talk about Ricky and his double kick. He did the double high kick.
Was chef's kiss. He killed it.
Not just one kick. He went with the double whack, whack. And I'm like, look at you guys go. They are so much more athletic and agile than I gave them credit for because they have a little belly. And I get you have a little belly when your partner's a chef. Like I get it. I understand.
Got it.
Like they were super athletic, and he proved it because as soon as they got it and they started running, he busted his ass, but he rolled. He did like a professional roll, got back up and kept running. Cesar was like, Ricky, are you okay? He goes, I know how to fall. as if they practiced. Did you practice falling? Because that's incredible. Yeah. Is Yvonne the worst singer to ever appear on The Amazing Race?
They didn't give her any acoustics.
Oh
That's
my God.
why.
She was off beat. She was just, I don't even know what she was. What? I don't know. She was.
Blame it on the editing. It's the editing.
I really wanted James Earl to be here because the only person that was worse was James Earl's mom. Like Denise was never getting that rap. She was the worst at it, and I think her and Yvonne might be neck and neck for the worst singing performances on The Amazing Race. All right. Amber says we are going the wrong way. Okay, so they're looking for the car. Amber's like, listen, we're going the wrong way. It's over here. And Vinny's like, no, it's not. And she's like, yeah, it is. He's like, all right, let's go. He's like, I don't know why we're doing this, but let's go. And then
looking back, she's probably like, I should have just like followed lead a little bit more. Because like for me, looking back, there was a lot of times I'm like, I should have just listened to Dad a little bit more and not tried to take the reins on everything. But yeah, that was so frustrating to watch. I was like, God, just listen to him.
Allison Lucas says, okay, but Ricky singing in Spanish sounded better than Cesar, who actually speaks Spanish. Yes, Ricky has a much better singing voice than anybody who was on this season. He was projecting, he was like, oh, but he was also like a singing major in college or something like that. So he better be a little bit good at singing, even if it's in another language. All right, so teams must check in after this incredible detour here. We're singing or banging on drums, and this is where some drama happens because a lot of teams lost ground or gained ground on their way to the pit stop. So Rod and Leticia were in 5th place when they finished the detour, but on the way to the pit stop, they finished in 3rd. Juan and Shane, they were in 4th place when they left the detour and finished in 6th. Yvonne and Melissa made up 1 space. So navigating to this final leg, final area really cost some teams some spaces. Ricky and
I heard some teams talking about they went on the wrong street because they thought it was a 2-way and it was just 1-way. When you mess up like that, you got to go around a whole. I'm sure. And then you got to ask for more directions. Like, that's where it's like, okay, now I'm stressed.
Yeah, I could definitely understand that when that happens. So 2 teams passed Juan and Shane on the way to pit stop. Rod and Leticia passed 2 teams on their way to the pit stop. And we got another neck and neck. Ricky and Cesar, Angie and Danny. And you think, okay, they're leaving at relatively the same time. Danny's an incredible navigator, so this is their chance to win it. But just minutes behind, finishing in 2nd place. Just like, oh.
Gosh. So frustrating. I thought it was going to be them, like when they did the little screen cut or like the commercial. Yeah. I thought it was going to be Danny. I was rooting for him, but
yeah.
Again, excited for Ricky and Cesar.
Yeah,
I want to see some drama.
Ricky and Cesar have a chance to be the best team to ever run the Amazing Race if they win out. Statistically, statistic-wise, they do. Regardless, they're one of the top 5 teams to ever run the race, regardless of where they finish from here on out. So lots of respect to Ricky and Cesar. Danny and Angie coming in 2nd place. Rod and Leticia finishing in 3rd. Amber and Vinnie, followed by Yvonne, Melissa, and Juan and Shane. Even Juan pushing through the food poisoning. And, of course, Sunny and Busy. They said they pretty much knew that they were eliminated while they were looking for the plaza the first time. They said they'd spent at least a half hour, 45 minutes looking for the first plaza. So they knew that they were really far behind the whole time.
Yeah, I like their attitudes, though, and like running into the ocean and just enjoying it. I'd have been crying.
Yeah. I can't understand somebody losing the race and still maintaining like a happy vibe. It just felt like my world crashed. It felt like everything that the hundreds of hours I put into preparation went to nothing. And the chance to change my family's destiny forever by winning $1 million, is down the drain and then back to being
It'll haunt
poor.
you forever. It'll keep you up at night saying like, what could I have done? What would I have done different? And just go back one time. Just let me go back.
Yeah. Okay. I did not read that earlier. I apologize. He did write that. Okay. So James Wallington said, I think it's so hard to compare. Like Corey said on Rob Has a Podcast, the COVID seasons are the same show, but a different race. I feel like it's not really comparable. Yeah, I mean, you could throw an asterisk on it. I get that. Because it's not. I mean, there were some legs where we were 12 hours ahead of another team where that can never happen on a COVID leg. Like, you can't get that far ahead of any team. So yeah, I mean, there was seasons where people were literally teams are 24 hours behind another team. Like that can't happen on a COVID season. There's no bunch points on a COVID season. So the bunch points are the bunch points are the starting legs where you're just a half hour apart. So there's no equalizers where every team is starting at the exact same time.
That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sucks, but as a racer, it's way nicer because once you get ahead, you can kind of stay ahead. But when you have the equalizers, like when Dad and I won in India, the very next leg was an equalizer. So it was like, what was the point, you know?
Yeah. Trust me, we worked so hard and we got like a 6-hour lead. And then we went to a board and we pulled a number and it was 15 minutes separating every team. I was like, we worked so hard to get 6-hour lead. It cut to 15 minutes because of this. Oh, fuck you.
Well, I also heard too that in previous seasons that there were some teams that were like 2 or 3 countries ahead. Wise, they were like, this does not make sense. We've got to figure it out.
Yeah, I get it for the viewers. I definitely understand. Arno De Leon said, did Danny mention that he had mapped out part of the leg from the hotel? No. Is that possible? How did they know where they were going from the hotel? But if they did, good for him. I'll tell you one little secret from our season. When we were about to start the leg, we were in our hotel rooms before it started, before we went to the starting line. We made sure we turned on CBS because we knew, like, if anything, we were actually trying to get traffic maps because we knew we'd have to go to the airport. So we wanted to find traffic maps. So we turned on CBS and we were trying to find traffic maps. And they were like, the Amazing Race starting line is going to be at Venice Beach. You know, and it's like, come on down to see it live. And we were like, okay, so we know we're starting at Venice Beach. We know we have to go to the airport. So let's start mapping that out in the hotel. So we did that.
Navigation error was going to the airport, the very first airport in Hollywood. We got lost on the highway.
Arno De Leon said he mapped it out because he guessed. Good for you, man. That is super fan move right there. That wasn't even shown. That's a super fan move, and I love it.
Yeah.
So Ricky and Cesar have finished second, first, second, first. Absolutely crushing the Amazing Race right now with a solid 1.5 average. There's nobody else even close. Only 3 teams have won a leg. Rod and Leticia, Ricky and Cesar, and Juan and Shane are the only teams to win a leg this season. And I don't know if that's going to change, to be honest. I'm hoping Danny and Angie can get one. I'm hoping Amber and Vinnie can get one. I kind of see Yvonne and Melissa going out next, but we'll see how it plays out. Next week.
From a viewer's perspective, I like the teams that communicate well. It makes me look at them and be like, wow, they probably communicate great outside of the show. And in my head, my natural reaction is to think, oh, well, Vinny and Amber have a horrible relationship, but that's not how it is at all. And so to anybody who's not ever raced before, like sitting on the couch is one thing, but being in it it's just so different. You just can't compare or judge anybody that's racing because it's so different doing it.
It's tough. So Autumn says, has this ever happened in Amazing Race history? Well, the Amazing Race historian should still be in chat. Logan, how many is the least amount of the season that had the least amount of teams winning a leg? Is it 3 or was there less? The only way I could see it being less is it wasn't our season had 5 teams winning, even though we won 7. That our season still had 5 separate winners, winning a leg. And Ricky and Cesar have won 5 legs, but only 3 teams have won a leg. So we'll see how it plays out. And this is also a little bit shorter. It's going to have 1 leg shorter than the average season of the Amazing Race. James Wallington's season only had 4 teams win a leg during his season. So next week they're headed to Rihanna's hometown, who is who's on my list of cheats. If that she's like right up there. I think she is. Oh, she is so sexy. Oh,
well, get this. So, just a side note, really quick. I was just in Maui, and my husband's like celebrity crush is Sydney Sweeney, and she's on like every airline movie that Anyone But You. And I'm sitting there at dinner, just casually eating, and she walks in the door.
No way.
And I got a video of it, and we actually ended up going up to the bar and like having a few drinks with their group. I think she was with her fiance and like some friends. But I was like, what are the chances that my husband's like celebrity crush just waltzes in here?
Now, do you guys have a if you can list? or you haven't talked about that yet?
He knows better than to even talk about it.
Oh, Lost Comms in the building. If you don't know, Juan and Shane do have their own YouTube channel. They are in chat right now. It is the Lost Comms show. Make sure you check that out. They don't do a great job promoting themselves, so we have to help them get some promotion here. Lost Comms show is the name of their Amazing Race recap show. So make sure you check it out. They're really funny, and they have such a great relationship with each other. Definitely a fun vibe on this show. Although, I was told from a member, I haven't listened to every one of your shows, but I was told that you guys do not like me very much. So I don't know what you said on your show about me, but people watching tend to think that you do not like me very much. And I totally respect that. If that's the case, you don't have to like me as a racer or as a person. Arnold DeLeon said, "Who is Rihanna?" And I can't believe that you like Angie. I know that you're 55, but listen, I'm 7 years younger. I'm not that far behind you, okay? And like Rihanna, I mean, come on. Rihanna.
Oh, no.
She performed halftime at the Super Bowl. You wouldn't come on. But yes, they are going to Barbados for the first time ever, which is where Rihanna is from. Juan and Shane seem like they are hitting the struggle bus with a wheelbarrow challenge, maybe some seaweed involved, and they gotta do something. But they both look like they are just absolutely spent trying to do this challenge, and a navigation problem for Angie and Danny as they ditch their camera crew and sound guys. Oh man. Listen, if they get a penalty for that, I'm going to be so pissed off, because if you're in follow mode, it's not like they or going super fast and ditching their team. They would look like they were in a roundabout and their camera crew didn't follow them. That shouldn't be their fault, and I hope they don't get a penalty for that, but this could be a big problem for Danny and Angie. Because you're supposed to stay within 20 feet of not just your partner, but within your camera crew as well. So we'll see.
I know the camera crew would have yelled at them, because if you saw how many times they played Come On Dad, that's how many times I was getting yelled at for running ahead. So I know they're yelling at them.
So we'll see how this all plays out. And listen, Juan and Shane, regardless, your family, like, we're family. I'm coming up to the finale party in New York. They're doing it at Berry Park in Brooklyn. I don't know if it's an open list, but it's the same place that the finale party was at last year. So if it is an open list and they are inviting fans, I hope to see you guys all out there. The last time was actually extremely fun, and half the cast from this season was there, except they didn't really make themselves known. So I didn't really get to meet them as I wanted to. I wish I would have. James Wallington did say that Danny was there because James Wallington is friends with Danny. I'm in my 50s, and of course I know Rihanna. I mean, what are you gonna do? But I can't remember any time in the Amazing Race history where a team has lost their camera crew. So I don't know how they're going to deal with this. But Arnold De Leon, thank you so much for the 20 bangers. It really means a lot, and I appreciate it. All right, so let's give away our awards. A super fan move. See, I want to give it to Danny because practicing navigation and such an underrated skill that doesn't get enough respect is navigation, because I think navigation has eliminated more teams than any challenge in the Amazing Race. So if you can be great at navigation, you always have a chance to stay in the race. And I need to pinpoint that if there are future racers watching this, navigation should not be overlooked. Driving a stick shift should not be overlooked. These are things that you can become a pro at before you go in the Amazing Race. There's no excuse. Do it. You're going to drive a stick shift. You're going to navigate yourself. Be great at it.
And not just stick shift, but knowing how to drive stick shift on the opposite side. Because when you're doing it with your right hand versus your left or whatever, that's like a whole nother lesson in itself.
Absolutely. Going to be a big green team reunion coming to New York City for the finale party. I have to order my suit. I usually wear those funky suits, so I have to order a suit for that one. So that's going to be my super fan award. Also for which they didn't show, him navigating and creating a map, looking out the window to try to find certain landmarks. Like, that's a super fan move as well. What do you got for your Come On Dad award?
I'm still trying to figure out what that means. Is it just somebody who's like constantly like pulling somebody up, or
it could be whatever you want, like come on, or it could be like, why'd you do that? It's your award. You can make any award you want. You can change it to anything you want. Who would you like to recognize?
What comes to mind is Vinnie basically telling Amber, like, come on, just listen to me. But I feel like that's boring. I gotta come up with another meaning for it.
You can do whatever you want. You can change it. It just seems like such a obvious, like, come on. Ricky and Cisa recognizing it's all about putting on a performance during the singing challenge was also a super fan move. Yes, more vibes. That's what happened on our season. I told Diana, your rapping is going to suck, but if you perform and you have a good time and you act like, things are going great, they're going to give you extra credit. So just hype your body up. And then that's when she was like, I'm a white girl. I don't have rhythm.
A lot of it's just about the show, because you never know what they're looking for. A lot of it is literally just the show.
Yeah, it is. They just want to be entertained. And when you're on a stage and you're performing, it doesn't matter if you're singing, if you're dancing, if you're spinning plates. It's all about entertaining the people watching. So if the judges are entertained, they're going to be more likely to let you pass. So always get up there and do it all. All Hollywood smoke. Vinnie and Amber are a couple to admire, says Juan and Shane. I love it. I mean, they seem like they've always been cool. Like anytime that they've contacted our show, even 2 years ago when Vinny was asking specific questions that made me know that they were getting cast on the show. I love it. I love that type of stuff. And next week could be an extremely intense episode.
Yeah, I feel like their time is coming. And yeah, I like Vinny and Amber too. I feel like whatever hate they're getting, again, I haven't seen any of it, but I mean, I think that's just part of the show. Different people react differently under stress, and
yeah, if you go into the Discord, if you want to join, click the link. If you go into the Discord, you could see a little bit of a conversation about me defending Vinny and Amber, and in the Amazing Race section of the Discord. They got into it a little bit with one of the fans. Obviously, it wasn't like, mean or anything like that, but it was a conversation about like, dude was right. And it sounds like he's trying to be calm. Meanwhile, everybody's hating on the poor dude online, talking like, I'm sure, 100% sure Amber is getting private messages saying, you better leave him, girl. He's not for you, girl. Like, you better get up out of there. He's gaslighting.
I can't even believe that it's that narrative. Like, if anything, if I were to think that they would be getting hate on anything, I would think it's the way that Amber's reacting, because I know that that's how I react, and I got all the hate. I don't really see the the spin on the Vinny part, but
Yeah, me and you don't. But Diana was sitting there like, you see, Justin, you see, and I'm like, see what? He's right. Like, but to see the way he's talking to her, I'm like, he's calm. He's trying to maintain a calm voice in a stressful situation. Oh, he's being condescending. No, that's him bringing his level down, trying to be calm. Like you could tell he's read books about how to get calm.
at the end of the day, they're racing for $1 million, and if you go into it soft and like expecting your feelings not to get hurt, you shouldn't be on the show. Like
You don't go on the show to strengthen your relationship. You don't go on the show to travel the world. You don't go on the show to look good in front of America. And if you do, you're never going to win. You go on the show to win the race, and you do whatever it takes to win the race. Whatever that motivation is, whatever it's like, listen, I'm done listening to you. Just follow me and be quiet, and you'll thank me later when we're millionaires. Like, we'll get over it. Like, the $1 million will help you get over the way I talk to you for a half a leg or 27 seconds during a leg. Which is like, I can't wait to watch our season again, because I'm going to make a mega cut of all of the times that me and Diana argued, and it's not even going to be long enough to make a TikTok, okay? But everybody makes it seem like me and her just blasted each other for the whole season. I can't wait to do it. Vinny and Amber said they went private on social because of the drama that they're dealing with.
it's bad. People don't realize it's the trolls. Like people will see you in public and they're so nice and supportive and oh my gosh, I love you, but then people, behind a screen will message you death threats, and it's like they're all hiding. It's
as much hate as we got online. One person at one of the conventions or things that we went to, reality events, said, I hated you on your season, but you're just such a cool dude, man. I really like you in person. And I'm like, well, that's who I am. That's who I am. We're in a stressful situation for $1 million. I'm a kid who grew up poor. My whole family was poor. We were on welfare my whole life. $1 million to me is like changing the destiny of my whole lineage. My last name lineage. Like, we were poor Jews. We do an ancestry going back 150 years. We were all poor, just running around Europe trying to stay alive. Eventually came to America and we're poor. And like, listen, we're still like, we're not like nowhere. We're maybe middle class at this point. I'm still like struggling to get out of that, and that's fine. But that's why it meant so much to me. Not just because I love the race, and that was one thing, but also like changing the whole course of my children's lives, their grandchildren's lives. Like, because we want to leave the country and move to Italy. And Diana's working on that now. Like, that would have literally changed. We would have picked up, went back to Italy, or moved to Costa Rica and started a coffee farm. Like, things would have changed drastically. Like, but we're here in Philly.
You ain't first, you're last, and we were both last.
We've got Ricky bobbied. So, where can people check you out, Annalie? Where can they see your incredible photos and videos from all around the world?
On the gram, I'm horrible at TikTok and all that other stuff. But my Instagram is the bucket list vagabond. So it's weird, but I try to share all bucket list things and events and adventures. So
do you do trips for guys too, or is it mostly girl trips?
Yeah, we actually have a trip coming up in Belize, and we have one guy that just signed up last night. So, and it's actually the brother of a previous racer on your season.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's like all intertwined. Small world.
Yeah, so if you want to go on a bucket list trip with an incredible guide, make sure you hit up the Bucket List Vagabond on Instagram. She does an incredible job creating content, which is why she's not here half the time, because she's busy traveling the world in beautiful locations, and she's normally with beautiful people. I don't even know how you get like just models to travel with you everywhere, but it just seems like beautiful.
I literally, like, when the race like recap started, I was boarding my flight, so I was like, it happened like that twice. Just happened. And
Well, I love having you in the show because I think you are an incredible racer and you are a strong woman, and I always like to have a strong woman's opinion on the show, especially because I could be so polarizing with the way that I speak, and I understand that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and the show is not for everyone. This show is for diehard fans of the show who want to get on the show and win the race. That's kind of who I'm doing it for. and that's who likes it. Like when I went on Rob Has a Podcast, their show is like happy-go-lucky, let's just have fun and talk, have great. And then people were hating on me because I'm like, this team sucks. They never have a chance at winning. And they were like, why is he so negative? I'm like, sorry, I didn't know this show was just happy, lucky. Um, oh, Michael in the house. The world is smaller than you think. That is true.
It is so small. I know. I'm supposed to be in Japan with Michelle and Lewis right now.
Oh, I wish I just finished watching Shogun, and I really want to go to Japan.
Yeah, they're living it up. I'm jealous I'm not there.
So hopefully the way that I think it's going to play out, next week we got Vinnie and Amber, the following week Juan and Shane, and for the finale week we're going to have Ricky and Cesar. I think that's the way it's playing out. James Earl should be back next week, so everything should be back in line next week. James Wallington, thank you so much for hanging out. Juan and Shane, thank you so much for hanging out. If you're listening to this on one of the podcast forums, hey, go and give us a 5-star or a thumbs up or whatever platform you are, and try to join us. We are live now Friday nights at 8:00, and the chat is really a great place where you could talk to current racers and former racers, and you can get your opinions on the show. I really appreciate you, Anna Leigh, and thank you for putting up with me. And everybody in chat, I know time is the most valuable thing that you have, and for you to spend any of it with me talking about my favorite show means the world. Thank you for giving me a platform and allowing me to share my incredibly polarizing opinions with you guys. I love you and I appreciate you, and I hope to see you next week. Hasta la vista. Bye.